year of middle school in 2017-18. Grade 5 students who reported high levels of growth mindset and academic behavior and low levels of performance avoidance had a lower predicted probability of having a GPA below 2.0 in the first semester of grade 6. Once student scores on grade 5 state standardized math and English language arts achievement exams were accounted for, levels of academic mindsets and behaviors among grade 5 students with scores at or above the district median did not predict meaningful differences in the probability of having a GPA below 2.0 in the first semester of grade 6. However, among grade 5 students with prior academic achievement below the district median, students who reported high levels of growth mindset and academic behaviors and low levels of performance avoidance had a lower predicted probability of having a GPA below 2.0 in the first semester of grade 6, even after differences in individual grade 5 prior academic achievement were accounted for. These patterns were essentially the same for all racial ethnic groups as well as for both English learner students and non-English learner students. Why this study? Ensuring that all students graduate on time and ready for college is an important goal for school districts across the country, including the Clark County School District, CCSD, in Nevada. Although average graduation rates have improved, disparities remain between racial ethnic groups and between English learner students and non-English learner students. While the 2019 CCSD on-time graduation rate was 86% overall, it was 90% for white students, 76% for black students, and 82% for Latinx 1 students, Nevada Department of Education, 2020. Moreover, there are meaningful differences across student groups in their level of preparation for post-secondary education or careers, even among students who graduate from high school on time. For example, grades, even more than test scores, are a documented predictor of student success in college. Allensworth and Clark, 2020, Eller and Depreet, 2018, Hadara and Cox, 2016, Hadara and Lewis, 2017. Previous research has reported that grade point average, GPA, differs significantly between white students and their black and Latinx counterparts, that these gaps grow over time, Borman et al. 2000, 2021, and that many students graduate from high school unprepared for college coursework, Eller and Depreet, 2018, Hadara and Cox, 2016. 1. CCSD refers to this group of students as Hispanic. For additional information, including survey measures, detailed results, information on missing data, and student group analysis, access the report appendixes at https://go.usa.gov/xmguh. Ariel 2022-123-1. The transition to middle school is a key period when many students either move toward graduation and college readiness or begin an academic slide that can end in failing to graduate and be ready for college. Borman et al. 2021, Eggles, 2008, Kurlaender et al. 2008. For many students, the changes in academic demands that come with middle school, along with difficulty navigating increasingly complex academic and social contexts, result in a decline in academic performance and engagement. This can be reflected in difficulties with grades, attendance, and behavior that sometimes continue through the end of high school, including failure to achieve on-time graduation and readiness for college. Allspaw, 1998, Enderman, 2003, Balfins et al. 2007, Borman et al. 2016, Borman et al. 2021, Cook et al. 2012, Eggles, 2008. Previous research suggests that academic mindsets can affect academic success. See Box 1 for definitions of key terms. A belief in the malleability of academic ability and in payoffs to effort. Growth mindset is thought to support academic engagement and success. Dweck, 2002. Dweck et al. 2011. Yeager and Walden, 2011. As students approach middle school, they tend to gravitate toward explanations of academic success and failure that emphasize fixed traits such as ability or intelligence, rather than effort or persistence. Dweck, 2002. Such conceptions appear to reduce academic effort and school engagement, which in turn undermines academic success. Dweck, 2002. Farrington et al. 2012. Yeager and Walden, 2011. Fears of failure and embarrassment that make students reluctant to extend themselves academically. Performance avoidance are often tied to negative stereotypes about their racial ethnic group and undermine student engagement and participation in school, as well as their academic success. Borman, 2017. Eggles, 2000.
Okay, that's enough. Now you're going to find out who prepared this document. Let me just see. I just want to get this last bit. Guess I got to get ready to get out of here. Let's just start speaking. Because I just wanted to know, were you included? Was it just not me? Start.
Ariel
This is
2022
October.
123 October 2021. This report was prepared for the Institute of Education Sciences, IES, under contract ELI-IS-17-C-0012 by the Regional Educational Laboratory West, administered by Wested. The content of the publication does not necessarily reflect the views or policies of IES or the U.S. Department of Education, nor does mention of trade names, commercial products, or organizations imply endorsement by the U.S. government.
So I just want you guys to understand that, when they brought those million-dollar contracts in for communities and schools and Nevada Prep, whatever, and how they're sprinkling those resources through the schools, they're not affecting student achievement because they're not starting with the data. And as long as they're not starting with something and somewhere to go, it's not going to happen. It's so frustrating to understand that there are no foundational responsibilities for the state to ensure access for all people. Actually, I think we should be going by the number of people who actually voted in an election, by the number of people who are actually living in a community, because we know who's here, supposedly, under the census data. And so the representation of the children who have graduated is real, because it would be the representation of how many people who are engaged in public policy or public perception, as in America, so many of our people just don't vote because they don't understand. That is the only thing you have a right to have. You have a right to speech, your liberty, but you don't have a right to have a concern over failure for the public education system for African American people. I understand that somehow people feel that they don't have to discuss what it is they're doing. But as long as they're taking pennies from the poor have a right and a personal responsibility to step up and say, hey, you're on my neck, like George Floyd. I mean, he said, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And how many times did he say he couldn't breathe? And guess what? The person employed by the system just ignored the hell out of him. So no matter how many times I'm telling you that there is an issue in public education here in Clark County, understand that they're not doing anything about it. Just because they said they're going to hire a child find coordinator, just because they said these things they were going to do, they said these things before, and they didn't follow through. So the word is, e pluribus unum, out of many there's one, but out of one there'll be absolutely none, as we have not shown up to demand a level of outcomes regarding our personal responsibility to understand and see that it is our voices that should rally around the lack of outcomes. But because we have so many black elected officials and they're not in a group such as like the Black Caucus for state to state, we don't get to measure the outcomes of the investment as who would be performing on the strip. Even Adele, she was going to come here and she was going to make money because some of those people paid $30,000 for the tickets. And she felt so apologetic because her people had come down with the COVID. You see, they were not doing what, oh, who's that? The person that plays that character. But this, just understand me when I say that we don't live in the fantasy world on television. And it is truly a way to share information, but understand me when I say that this is America and there are no other alternatives except for prison. And as they can widely discuss the pipeline to prison and what it looks like, they cannot identify what they're going to do to eliminate that for the people who are lacking skills, because they never, never, never discuss where the children are actually. And it is troubling. It's troubling that people would meet with Clark County School District law enforcement and not talk to the girls who have been trying to represent the students at the local sites because of all the racist policies that are implemented. And simply, they are policies because policies are not laws. You don't understand the governance structure in America. Policies do not equivalate or equal laws. I was watching a program on CNN. No, what is it? It's not C-SPAN. Oh, it might have been on C-SPAN because it was on the news, CBSN, the streaming news channel, about how people in Haiti, I think it was in Cuba, whatever, I forget the town exactly, but they were getting radiated. And believe me, all those people have brain damage. Believe me, understand satellite interference and understand the ability to crank up the radio waves that come to your devices, so that, I mean, because that's how they track you. They pump it up, pump it up, and they don't care about the safety of the human being. You need to understand we are dealing with major safety issues as 5G rolls out, and as they get to target the individuals that they're tracking in America. The America I know does not represent and does not equate failure. So for the black people who are failing in public school system across this nation, understand when they say it's your fault. Because your people don't come out. And it's your fault because your people are not doing the advocacy necessary to sustain life. Because we don't have the data that would be necessary to sustain life for our people. But yet and still, we know all of the disgusting things. Did you see on the news earlier where this young man had the same name as a white man, and how they locked that young man up for the crimes of the white man, and he had to go to trial? All of his inconvenience was not even discussed, as if he had no rights, and they do not have any responsibility to adhere to what they're supposed to be doing without the oversight of the people who are most affected. And I say, stand with me in 2022. Get over yourself, boo, because it's not you. It's not me either. It's all about the Benjamins, the $100 bills, the money that comes into the public school system for the education of the poor, as the poor people have no rights to demand a level of maintenance from the investment. And that is so concerning, as we are still Americans. So, out of many there's one, but out of one there will be none.